March 2023. I worked and trained all my life to become world champion. On that championship, March 2023, I trained for years and years on end for that moment. I arrived to the championship. I'm in the best shape of my life, and I end up going 2 out of 6. I only made 2 lifts out of 6, and I had to pull out due to a back injury on my second attempt on the clean and jerks, and I ended up finishing not second, not first, not third, not fourth, but 5th in the world. And it was one of the biggest failures of my whole entire life, but it ended up turning into a complete, the biggest win of my whole entire life. And I'm going to explain to you guys why. 3 months later, I lost the girlfriend that I was with for over a year, and I wasn't able to train with lifting anymore for multiple months. I think it was 7 or 8 months because of a wrist injury. And so I lost my girlfriend. I didn't become world champion. I lost with lifting for multiple months, and I dropped out of school, right? And so I lost my school friends. They started making fun of me because I was, dropping out and starting a business when I didn't even know what the definition of a business was back then. So they made fun of me for a good reason back then. Now, they ask me for advice, but that's another subject. And so what truly changed everything for me in that championship was that the competition was at night, right? And so we ended the competition at like 8 p.m., right? Went back to the hotel, and I started throwing up because I told everyone that I was going to be world champion, told everyone that I was going to succeed, and I failed in front of everyone. It was an humiliation for me, right? Start throwing up, having anxiety, sweating, but feeling cold, right? Just full of panic attacks. And 11, 12, I try and fall asleep, but I can't. 1 p.m., 2 p.m. And then I'm just like, it's 2 a.m., sorry, not 2 p.m., 2 a.m., and I can't sleep. I can't breathe. I'm just gonna go outside. And then outside the hotel, there was a beach. And I started walking there. And at some point, there was a hill. And I sat down on that hill. And, growing up, like, I did not come from like a religious family, or when I was growing up in that school, like, people there were very anti-religion, and there was something inside of me that didn't believe in any of those religions, but I kind of believed there was a creator, right? Because nothing comes from nothing, right? There had to be something. So I said, I was just crying for 5-10 minutes, and I said, God, like, if you're here, please reveal yourself to me. And why did this happen to me? And, I keep crying. And a few seconds later, I just hear a voice that is like, when you're young and you feel the voice of your father, and it's just like a powerful voice. Multiply that by 100, and that's the voice that I heard. I heard, my son, everything's gonna be okay. Just put your full trust in me, right? And then, like, I was living in complete sin. Like, I was having sex outside of marriage. I was doing a bunch of other things. And slowly, I started losing it all. I started losing with lifting. I lost my girlfriend. I was completely broke. I had really no purpose. Everything was taken away from me the moment that I gave my life to Jesus Christ, right? Everything was taken away from me, and that's when I truly reinvented myself in a way. Because with lifting, I attached my identity to that. It was taken away from me. My girlfriend and the woman, I was spend so much time just with women, texting them, hanging out with them, all of those things, and it was also taken away from me because every single time I would do it, I would just feel worse and worse and worse until my consciousness, my conscience was just like, dude, like, I just can't, right? I just cannot do this anymore. And so that was also taken away from me. And my friends also, that was taken away from me. And that's when I found my purpose. That's when I truly met God. That was a few months later after I gave my life to Christ. And I truly gave it all to God, simply not because of my righteousness, but simply because I had no choice. He had already taken it all, right? I was like, damn, this is the fruit of my own actions. I lost everything. I cannot do things my own way, because my way leads to a lack of purpose. My way leads to, just failure, right? Just failure, because even when I won, I felt like I lost. I felt so empty inside of me. And I didn't know anything about business. I thought I was never gonna lift weights again. And 1.5 years later, on the dot, I was making $10,000 to $15,000 per month consistently with my online business. I was lifting weights that I never thought I would lift. I was snatching 160 kilos, was clean and jerking 180 at a very young age. And I truly met the girl of my dreams. The girl that met every single standard that I ever had. I just met her and I got into a wonderful relationship. During that 1.5 years, it was the best 1.5 years of my life, but it was also the hardest 1.5 years of my life, because people think that once you give your life to God, you give your life to Christ, everything's gonna be beautiful and everything's gonna be great, and your life all of a sudden is gonna feel, crazy good. And it's like, no, you're probably gonna lose everything. You're probably gonna lose every single thing that you put on a pedestal. You're probably gonna lose everything that you put your identity on, right? For example, that was me with lifting, woman, all those things. And so giving your life to Christ doesn't mean that, everything's gonna be easy. It only means that the reward is no longer the money. The reward is no longer the PRs. The reward is no longer the woman. The reward is no longer whatever addiction you have. Like, it can be the alcohol, it can be the drugs. The reward now becomes God. And so whether you have the money or not, you have peace. You feel fulfillment. Whether you have the woman or not, you feel, once again, the peace. You feel the fulfillment. And obviously, it's not always like that. But every single time that you're in the presence of God, you just feel the peace. You feel like you can lose absolutely everything, and you will still be okay, because your reward is God. Your reward is no longer anything material, anything of this world, because everything of this world is temporary. Everything of this world is deceiving, right? Because your business, one day you're gonna be 75 and you're gonna be with all the money in the world, and you're gonna be like, oh, well, I have the money, now what, right? Or maybe with lifting, you're gonna be 55 or 65 or 75, you're gonna be like, oh, well, lifting doesn't feel the same anymore. I don't want to do lifting anymore. Now what, right? Your wife, she might freaking, I don't know, go with another dude, or she's gonna get older and uglier. So now what, right? Or maybe you just spend 2 or 3 hours of the day with your wife. What about the other 21 hours, right? So there's nothing that can fill that void. There's nothing that can fix your anxiety. There's nothing that can fix your depression, anything other than your Creator. That's the only thing that can fix that void. And so if you want to put your testimony on the comments, or you have any questions related to what I'm talking about here, which is Jesus Christ, just shoot me a message on Instagram, or you can even put it on the comments, and I'll be there to answer you. All right? God bless you guys, and I will truly be praying for every single person that watches this video. In the name of Jesus, see you on the next one.